We'll begin the questioning, and I recognize myself for 5 minutes. Administrator Regan, EPA's actions have been forcing premature closures of important coal-fired generating sources, which has undermined electric reliability. And new regulations promise to drive even more premature closures as part of your EGU strategy. After Congress and electric system operators raised concerns about reliability, you issued a memorandum of understanding with DOE on reliability this past March. I have a copy of it right here. The MOU states that EPA, quote, gives careful consideration to electric reliability implications as it develops and implements regulations for electric generating facilities. It states further that EPA engages with stakeholders, including independent system operators and RTOs, in developing regulations that are consistent with maintaining reliability. So I want to dig into this MOU a little bit. Administrator, reports from the ISOs and RTOs tell a different story. Did you consult the operators of the nation's electric grids about your EGU strategy? You have, okay. Well, you might want to consult with them again. I'm entering into the record a report from PJM Interconnection and a Wall Street Journal article on this topic entitled SOS for the Electric Grid. This report's findings are simple. We are shutting down too much reliable power on the grid, accelerated by EPA regulations with no plans to replace it. So, Mr. Administrator, I want to get it on record today. The state of Ohio, my constituents, and over 60 million Americans in total get their power on the PJM grid. Can I go back to my district and tell them that they will enjoy equal to or better electric reliability in 2030 as they do today?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and I'll say that—
That's great. I got a lot of questions to ask you, so that's an important question and an answer. Are you confident the regulatory impacts of your rules would pass an independent reliability review by the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, or NERC?
I am.
Okay. Reports indicate EPA's new Clean Power Plan rulemaking, replacing the one rejected by the Supreme Court as part of West Virginia versus EPA, will conveniently be announced tomorrow after this hearing. Will you provide a broad and diverse array of stakeholders, including RTOs and ISOs and affected states, more than 60 days to review and comment on those proposals?
We can consider that.
Okay. Would you commit to returning to this committee to discuss this proposal?
You know, I am committed to transparency, whether that be in front of this committee or providing—
I'll give you an opportunity. I'll call you back. Thank you very much. Administrator Regan, I'd like to ask about EPA's plans to impose new regulations for methane on top of the IRA's new methane fee, the natural gas tax. I'm concerned that new taxes and regulations will, as CBO reported, increase compliance costs, reduce energy production, and increase energy prices. I don't believe EPA has statutory authority to regulate methane as proposed. And because there are significant questions about how the methane fee and the methane regulations will interact with each other. So, Mr. Administrator, will EPA's new taxes and regulations on natural gas increase prices for the American people?
I can't speak to the taxes piece. I'm not quite sure if I understand that.
Can you get back to me on that? Can you ask your team? Okay. Will you agree to not finalizing any rule that increases consumer prices or produces or reduces energy production?
We do a very careful cost-benefit analysis for all of our rules that are proposed.
But that's not what I asked you. I said, will you agree to not finalizing any rule that increases consumer prices or reduces energy production?
It'll be hard to tell whether it's solely our rule that increases prices. I think that we can walk you through the cost-benefit analysis that we use to propose all of our rules.
Do you believe EPA has authority to expand the natural gas tax to other sources or sectors beyond oil and gas producers like agriculture, for example?
We're not expanding the tax, so I'd like to talk to you in detail about the—
Do you think you have the authority to do that?
We don't have authority or have not propose any tax.
What is the status and timeline for EPA to finalize the rulemaking for collecting the new methane fee?
Hopefully before the end of this year. We've received over 500,000 comments the first time, close to 500,000 the second time as well, so we're carefully going through those comments.
Okay, with that, I yield back.